happens is you end up in a position with a mud truck or a bog truck or a fucking off-road truck, no matter what you're doing. But you kind of have to draw the line and say, this is what this truck is specifically made for. So there are mega trucks, bog trucks, woods trucks, trail rigs, rock bouncers. And they're all great at what they do, but they fall short in other categories. So you really have to build the truck that you want for what you want to do. Now, I love crawling through mud. I love sitting by mud and watching people rip through it and getting drunk and enjoying myself. And this truck, it's a great truck, don't get me wrong, but it falls short in a lot of categories. So we really have to put more effort into it. And over the next couple of months, we are going to pour money into this fucking thing like you've never seen before. So, this video, and this video in particular, is just me gathering parts. So, it'll be a shit ton of parts. Me starting to build this truck. Over the next 2 videos will be me finishing the truck. But there's a lot of work, man. This thing is so much work. So stay tuned, because all the people have asked questions about like doing mud trucks on 1-tons or ag tires or transfer cases or transmissions. I have all the answers for you guys. Just stay tuned and be patient through the video. Don't click through the goddamn thing. If you want to learn something about making a truck that will go off-road and will stamp just about anything, this is not the video that you want to click through. You might say, Rob, tomorrow, what truck do you bring to Vermont? The nice truck? Or, well, the other truck? Well, it's certainly not the thing that saves gas or is reliable or airbags, or probably has like plates and not this and not cracked windshield, and we're taking her. I know she doesn't look like much with all the body damage and rust and body damage and bald tires and tire with probably 3 or 4 plugs in it. But trust me, inside this Suburban beats the heart of a goddamn champion.
We're losing him! We're losing him! He's dying!
She is just ready to go. And we're going to Vermont, and nothing is gonna stop us. Well, before we go have any fun up north, Suburban's a little sacked out because well, we have some stuff we need to empty first, and then we can go to Vermont. So on an 800-mile trip, what would someone bring with them? Especially in a not very reliable truck. Well, let's see. Well, I stopped off in the ass crack middle of nowhere, fucking Vermont, for a quick rehydration at the fucking old Jiffy Mart. And so far, our mission is successful. We got our ag tires in the back. We need 2 more, and then I need centers, and I need the fucking rim. Oh, what did I get myself into? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Next year is gonna be way better, trust me. So let's get back to our state and then we'll update.
Old City became increasingly attractive to the people who society frowned upon, like gangsters, pimps, drug dealers, sex workers, dog eaters, refugees, and apparently even some normal, albeit maybe crazy people who simply saw an opportunity.
Alright, now to go to my favorite place, aka the adult toy store, which is the Steel Mill store. Oh yeah. All the metal a fella can ask for in here. As long as the pound doesn't go up. Pretty much everything you need. Check them out, they're Logan Steel in Connecticut. Alright, so here's an update on exactly where we're at. I put the truck up on my stands. We're going to take the leaf spring out, pull the shock out. We're going to drop the shock 4 inches, basically to accommodate the new springs and blocks and etc, etc, etc. I bought the new rim shells. I bought spring hanger. I bought like everything. Everything's pretty much coming, or it will be coming within the next month to rebuild it. So basically where we're at right now is we pulled the rear drive shaft. That's out, transfer case is out, transmission's out. 4L60E, that you can shit on me all you want, but if you build them right, they're actually pretty fucking decent. Even though you don't need 3rd and 4th gear, you don't need the overdrive or anything like that, but you can build them where they're manual shift body. This thing is going from a 4-bolt to a 6-bolt transfer case housing to a 2-bolt housing, right? So it's going to go in the MP 200 with basically a jack shaft or a short little itsy bitsy drive shaft that connects the two. That'll give me more room. However, if we look at the lengths on these two, see how short it is? Well, on top of that quad over there, we got the shaft for it. So we're going to start disassembly on this. Pretty easy.
All right, boys, now watch how this is done. The key is to put it all in your groin and your back. Take your legs totally out of the equation. Lift with your lower back in a jerking, twisting motion.
All right, fellas, so I'm going to teach you a couple things. Basically, all these bolts come out. These are 1/2-inch bolts. First, you got to pull this guy, right? So you go in there with a pick, pull the retention clip out. This will slide out. This harness comes off. This guy right here, 2 10mm bolts. This goes into the pump housing. So if you try to pull the pump housing with this guy in here, you're going to break this right off. I've done it before. So this is going to come out. There's no clip on this guy. It basically just pulls out as part of the wiring harness. So you have this guy and this guy out. After that, usually I pull the retaining clip out of the servo, pull the whole servo assembly out. There's 2 clamps and a pin in the center. This will come out, the center will come out, and then the rest of it will come out as one shot. And this will be ready to go. Like I said before, 1/2-inch bolts, they all come out. There's a puller for this actually that fits on here, because this is part of the pump. This is stationary and this spins right here. All right. What you can do, however, is loosen all your pump bolts and go behind here. See the edge of the pump ride's right there. All right. And then it's right in there too. So this is the pump housing. Okay, so you just go behind here and you just gently
Don't worry, we'll make it fit.
pry it out. Pump will come out. And then basically, because you already moved the shift servo, the band, which is, I already did all this. I already rebuilt it. So basically this band right here. All right, cool.
has two prongs. This is where the shift servo sits. There's a pin that actuates against this, that clamps it or lets it go. This, there's a pin, believe it or not, that actually holds it in place in there like this. So basically when it's in there, let me see if I can compress it with one hand. It'll sit like this. Once the shift servo's out, it'll loosen it up. And then basically what you do is just stick where my fingers are right here. You stick like a flathead in there. You pry it down until it's off the pin. You can pull it off as one assembly. So once the band's out, everything will basically come out as one chunk, and then everything's left in the back. The only thing that retains the sun shell and planetaries is one C-clip. So get yourself a nice pair of C-clip retainers, or like a better pair of C-clip retainers, and you're gonna be good. The tail shaft comes out that way. Take the new one, you slide it in. The C-clip we just talked about basically sits right there on that groove. So slide the new guy in, it goes through the planetaries and all that shit. Planetaries go back on, C-clip goes back on, sun shell, and then the bushings on the sun shell go back in. It's if you've done this enough, it's relatively simple. Like, I can understand tearing apart a transmission is a daunting task, but if you're not touching the valve body and you're just pulling the internals out, besides aligning all the clutch plates to get in there, it's a pretty simple job. All right, well, we got her slapped back together. Let's throw a pan on her and tail housing on. There you go, boys. That's my 4-bolt housing. This is a vehicle speed sensor. So if you're doing mud trucks like me, then I'll tell you the secret. But if you're not, just put your VSS in there with a 10mm bolt. These are all 27 spline, by the way. So if you have to buy a slip yoke, just make sure you buy a 27 spline. That's it. If you have a mud truck, right, and you don't want to use 3rd and 4th, then don't put the VSS in there. It will lock transmission into 1-2. Reverse, park, 1-2, and that's all you'll have, which is fine. So basically I just put a cap plug in there, call it a day. But yeah, it's just that simple. So let's put it back in the truck, get it mocked up, and get that big nasty MP200 fucking mated up behind it with a short shaft and a nice little treat. Now with this together, let's do the update. So 4L60, this is fully built, don't worry. It's not a shitty one out of the junkyard. I've actually built the shit to the nines. MP200, ready to go, fully sealed up. I might take it apart and do one bearing on it, but that's not a big issue. The backsplash for this guy is on there. We got the springs in, or not in, but replacing the springs currently. So we had to drop this considerable amount. These are the old springs. These are 52s with a 2-inch lift. They're easy ride, so they don't have as much lift, so to speak. They have more give because they're meant to float up and down on shit and not like really give you that lift effect. These are the other ones. These are a little bit bigger. By a little bit bigger, I mean they're 6 inches, 3 inches wide. They have the helper at the bottom, so these are going to be very rigid springs, but that's fine because that's what I'm after. So we basically had to drop this whole fucking thing down, and I mean a lot. I mean, look at the angle of the steering bracket. So we're going to go with hydro steer in the front because that's not going to hold up for very long. Jet truck up, got the body up, had to drop the axle basically right down on the floor. It's in the lowest setting on the jack stand. And we're just trying to figure out where the mount's going to go. Where the mount's going to go on the back. But as you can see, this is basically, I mean, almost hands width to the floor right here, all right? Back's level. The front is, it's going to be probably 6 to 7 inches higher than it was, which is good for the tractor tires. I mean, I'm probably 5'11", and with the axle on the ground right now, the hood comes up to my head, or just about, but you get the idea. The only thing we really have to do that I want to do perfect this time is basically mock up the angles. So you obviously see how that's off. We might have to shift this around, but figure out the angles, figure out the rake so it has proper spring rate on it. We have the spring hangers coming in from Skies this week. So I'm gonna be welding those up. We got a ton of metal for the drop bracket for the MP200 and the spring hangers, and we're basically gonna cage the entire front. So basically, like, all this stuff's gonna be sealed in. Radiator's coming out. That's gonna get relocated into the rear of the truck. This is gonna get sealed in. All right. All this aluminum. Jesus, can't speak today. I'm trying to talk too quick to get through these videos. Aluminized stainless. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We got the tires that we need. We got the rim centers. So pretty much all we got to do is find a good CNC place. Red Barn, Precision. There's a couple of places, some local places around me that will do the center. My idea is I don't want to do a full solid center. Most of them are 3/8 thick. I don't want a full 3/8 plate with just holes in it, because weight adds up really quick on these things. And I don't want every single tire to be the same weight as the 38s with all the shit that I got in them. So with tubes, centers and all that shit, I want to get like a design that has holes cut out in it, so it kind of reduces the weight on the wheels, which will help out with the axles. Not that they need any help. These are chromos on the on this side. They're chromos. The shaft is not chromo, but it should hold up for a little while. It's more trial and error at this point. But yeah, just setting back spacing on these, making sure they're far enough out, compressing this down with weight under it, and seeing like if it's going to hit any of this shit in here, and if necessary we'll go up an inch or two on like a block. I really don't like using blocks, but in the case we can make the blocks so they don't slip or roll. So I'm not too worried about that. It's just getting the right pinion angle now and getting it centered and welding up the spring perches. Once this side's done, the back's going to get carved off this truck so we can put the radiator out back. We're going to run aluminum tubing from the engine all the way back to feed coolant. Shit, that's about it for right now. I'll update you when I get a little bit farther, maybe when I get the axle in, because everything's got to get redone. Like the trans support's got to get redone. Everything's got to get redone. The higher you go and different parts you use, all this shit basically goes in the parts bin. So let's get to it.
Here's another thing, guys. Make sure to subscribe, because the more subscribers, the more feedback I get, basically, the faster I will churn out videos. I can't do this shit every single day. I can't even promise you every single week, but I will try my fucking hardest to produce videos to the same level of content in which you are disappointed in. So make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will turn out as many fucking videos as humanly possible. Because we're cranking right along, but behind the scenes, it's moving fast, but it might seem like it's going really slow. But paycheck after paycheck, boys. Like and subscribe, because you want videos, I'll give them to you, but I can't do it with 80 subscribers.